Hello and welcome everybody. We're happy to be together again. Today's lecture we are going to learn how we can use the retail website from the EPLAN Corporation. How we can use this website to insert and download step file and how we can use it in our EPLAN project. Okay guys, first thing let's open the retail website. After that you can find everything related to the retail website right there. You can use whatever you want. Even here, you can find different options for the thing related to the enclosures and the other devices. What I'm gonna do actually is search for enclosure. So to search for enclosure, let's search for products. Search for products enclosures. In enclosure, let's search for enclosure overview. You can find here different type of enclosures starting from this the design heights and widths. You can select by here the actual height you wanna use, actual width, actual depths, and also the material you can use, aluminum, cast iron, and other things. You can find here different types. Also, you can find here different enclosures, enclosure system with 2 doors. You can find it right there. For the IT racks, you can find this one and this one. These are the 2 enclosure for IT. You can find here another operating housing for enclosures and other things for enclosures. What I'm gonna search for is actually a small enclosure. This one. You can find here different enclosures you can choose from. You can find here, this is enclosure types. This is actually a box from sheet steel. You can use it with a lock. You can find here different dimensions for these enclosures, starting from 150 millimeters to 300 millimeter heights. You can find here until we reach this one. This is the largest one with a width of 300 millimeter or 30 centimeter and 800 millimeter or 80 centimeter. I'm gonna download this one and use it for my project. To download it, you will need to go to serial number and you can find here all data related to it. Starting from the enclosure description, all data, and the approval for NEMA code and the IEC 6529, which are related to index protection, and also for index IK, and other thing like the weight and other thing for the enclosures. You can find it right there. And also you can find the approval for this enclosure. You can see it right there. What you need actually is to download the EPLAN file step file. To download the EPLAN step file, you will need to search for CAD from right there. And you have the option to download it. It's direct download or by email. You can receive it by email. But I'm gonna use direct download as I won't download it directly. You can find here different types. What I'm gonna do actually is download the 3D of the EPLAN. Let's search for the step file. You can find here the DWG and the SF files, other files. What I'm going to do is download the 3D files related to this one. So I'm gonna search for step. Here we go. SolidWorks step file. Let's see download this one. And the level of details, we are gonna use the high level of details. All details and is included in this step file, so we will need it. After that, I'm gonna press request download. When I press request download, what it actually is requesting the download from the retail systems. After that, I'm gonna download it so I can use it easily. When we go to our project, you can find it here. This is our one we are using. You will need to extract it so you can use it easily. This one is the one we are using. You have here 2, 1. This is our step file we are gonna use. This is our one we are gonna use. What we will need now is actually to go to EPLAN. After going to EPLAN, you will need to open this 3D. This is our 3D layout. After that, you will need to go to File. Then we will need to import this step file. So let's go to Import, Layout Space, as we want to import 3D. So let's go to the Layout Space. We are not going to import 3D CAD program. Instead, we are gonna import 3D graph data. So we are gonna use the step file. After that, let's open the place we are using. This is our place. What we actually are gonna import is this one. As you can see, we're importing it. Now, you can find it right there. It's importing and generating all step files. Here you can find things related to this step file. What I'm gonna do actually is go to view and see the front view. As you can see, this is our front view. The front view is actually at this place. So what we will need is to rotate this entire things. So I'm gonna go to right side. Then I will try to rotate it around 90 degrees. So I'm going to SW isometrics. I will need to rotate it around this axis. So what I'm gonna need to do is to select the entire thing like that. After that, I will need to go to edit, then rotate. First thing, you will need to ask what is the axis you will need to rotate around. I will need to rotate around this axis, which is this one. When I select it, as you can see, it is becoming, instead of red, becoming yellow. So when I press this, you will need to specify the direction of rotation. I'm gonna choose this is direction. After that, you will need to enter the rotation angle. The rotation angle we will need is 90 degree. So I'm gonna press from the keyboard 90 degree and press enter. As you can see, this one has been rotated. Let's see what's gonna happen around that. Let's go to front view to see what's gonna happen. From view, go to front view to see we actually around this one. So what we will need is actually to rotate it again. So let's rotate it again around this axis. So to be the front view is the door. So I will need to go to edit again. Then I will need to select the entire things. After that, I will need to rotate it like that. After that, I will need to press rotate, select the axis we will need to rotate around. After that, specify the direction of rotation. This is the direction of rotation. We will need to rotate it by 180 degree. So you can see it now, it has been rotated in the front view. Let's go to front view to see it. As you can see, this is our panel. Is actually this panel, when we zoom in, let's zoom in, it's upside down. So we will need to rotate it one more time by 180 degrees. So what I need to rotate it 180 degrees one more time, but around this axis, this small axis. So let's select the entire thing. After that, I will need to go to edit, then rotate around this axis. Then I'm gonna rotate in this direction. I will choose 180 degree like that. Now you can see the entire thing is done perfectly. When we go to front view and zoom in to see the name right there, to see it, it's actually in the good place. The retail is a good place. After that, let's zoom out. You can see in this step file, we have different logic items. You can see it right there. Starting for the lock, you can find here, this is our locks for the door. You can find here the mounting panel. You can find here other enclosures. What I'm gonna do actually, instead of adding everything for each one of these, I'm gonna divide it into 3 parts. One for the door, one for the body for the enclosure, one for the mounting panel. So I'm gonna define each one of them separately. To do so, we will need to select the door separately first. After that, we will need to select the body. So I'm gonna try to select the door first. Select the door. The door is gonna include the outer door and these 2 locks. So let's select these 2 locks by selecting from the mouse and keyboard, use control from the keyboard, like that. After that, I'm gonna select the door. As you can see, we now selecting the door and 2 locks. What I need now is to unite them to be single group. To do so, I will need to go to Edit and go to Graphic, Group, then Unite. Once I press Unite, and I will be asked to define the handle for this Unite. I will define the handle to be at this place. Okay. As you can see, now we added a new item, which is this door. You can find it right there at the bottom. This is the new door. This new door is only including the door. When we hide this door from right click and hide, what we can see only the mounting panel, the body, the entire body, and the mounting panel. So what I need to do, have one of 2 options. To define each part, if I want to mount in the panel in the right side and left side and mount in each place, I will need to define each part separately. But if I don't have any thing will be mounted on the right side of the enclosure or the left side of enclosure or down side of the enclosure or the upside, so I will define the entire things as single panel. Okay, first thing, let's define this sheet or the mounting panel sheet. To define it as mounting panel sheet, this is our mounting panel sheet. Let's hide it to is gonna be a single one. Okay. Now we have the entire enclosure. This is our entire enclosure, including the back and the right side and left side and other things. What I'm gonna do actually is select the entire things like that. After that, I will need to unite it to be the single things, which is the body of the enclosure. To do so, I will need to go to from graphic group, unite again. Now we actually making 2 things: the body of enclosure, the mounting panel, and the door. What I need now is to define the handle. So I'm gonna define the handle for this body at this place. Now, when you see the left side in the layout space, you can find here the first thing, which is the mounting panel. The second thing is actually the door, you define it. And the last thing, the entire thing, which is the body. You can show the entire thing, show it, or show all, like that. You can see the enclosure now as the right thing. Now let's see as isometric. Okay, like that. You can see the entire isometric like that. Okay. What I need now is to define each part of these enclosures, starting from the mounting panel, the door, and the body. To do so, we will need to go to first for the door to define it. To define this door, we will need actually to define it by properties. We will need to go to right click and go to properties. It will open the properties components for the placement After that, you will need to define the function for this logic item. To define the function, you will need to press this 3 dot like that. After that, we will need to search for the enclosure door. We will need actually to put it add enclosures, accessories. So I'm gonna search for enclosure, accessories. After that, I will need to search for enclosure door. This is going to be our enclosure door. So I'm gonna choose door like that. Okay. Now we have defined this one to be enclosure door. After that, I will need to define this part, which is the mounting panel. So I'm gonna define this logic item to be a mounting panel. Right click on it, then go to function details from right there. After that, I will need to go to mechanics, system accessories. I will need to go to housing. I will need to search for mounting panels. This is our mounting panel. Here we go. Then I will press OK. Now it's defining the mounting panel. After that, I will need to define the last one, which is the body of the enclosure. Right click again, go to properties, go to right there. After that, I will need to go to system, accessories. I will need to go to housing. I will need to choose body, but I cannot find here bodies. So I'm gonna go to enclosure system. I'm gonna search for body. This is going to be the entire body of the enclosure, like that. I'm gonna press OK. This is actually representing the housing of the enclosure. Okay. As you can see, this is the housing of our enclosures. This is the door. This is the mounting panel. What I need now is define the mounting panels where we can mount the components. We have several options for mounting components. One for the doors for start and stop push buttons. And also we have mounting panel on the main mounting panel. So let's show only the mounting panel. So what I'm gonna do actually is to show the only mounting panel. Like that. So to define the mounting panel, I will need actually to go to invert and choose mounting surface to define each surface. From mounting surface, I'm gonna choose this surface, which is the front view. This is our front view. So I'm gonna define the front view of this one to be mounting surface. You can find here different mounting surface. Do you wanna make it a mounting surface inside or outside, or mounting surface front or backward? So I'm gonna search for mounting surface or mounting panel. This is the mounting panel. I'm gonna define it as mounting panel front. So this is actually the front of the mounting panel. Okay, this is the front mounting panel. We can also define the backward of the mounting panel. So we are gonna rotate it to see the backward. After that, I will press mounting surface and define this place as the backward of the mounting surface. So let's go to up there, add mounting panel back, and press OK. Now we have defined the mounting panel front and back. After that, I will need to show the door. To define the door mounting panels and the inside. To define where we can place our mount. Okay, component. So I'm gonna place component on right there. So I will need to press mounting surface and define this surface to be our mounted. Like that. As you can see, we have defined that surface to be mounted. We will need to place on it a component. So we will need to define it as door. So you can find here the door. The door having several options. Door left or door right. We actually here, the door is opening to the right. So we are gonna choose the door right. Okay. This is door right. Is it inside or outside? It's actually, we are selecting the outside. So I'm gonna define it as door right outside. Okay. Then also we are gonna define the inside for this door also. So let's define the mounting surface for this place as inside. door, right, inside. Door, right, inside, and place OK. After that, if we want to go to housing, you have several options. Do you want to mount in this right place and left place, or you don't want to place any component in it? If you want to place any component on the right side, you will need to define this place to be mounting surface by pressing mounting and choose this place to be a mounting surface as a place we can mount it on a component. Several times we can component mount on the right place. So let's define it as the mounting surface. You can leave it as mounting surface, or you can put it as side panel. It's actually a side panel left from inside. It's the left side panel from inside. So I'm gonna press OK. After that, you will need to define the side panel from the right. So let's press mounting surface and choose this one to be side panel from the right, from inside, and press OK. Also, you have the option to define the upper side and lower side. To define the upper side, like this is actually from outside, side panel, but from the top, this rear, we actually wanna we here have the floor and the cover. I'm gonna keep it cover outside, okay? And here we are gonna define the bottom to be floor, mounting surface floor. Floor, this floor is gonna be from inside. The last thing is the floor from downside. This is our floor. We will need to define it. Floor from outside. Here we go. Here we want to define the cover from the inside also. So let's define the cover from inside. After that, we have defined inner things. The only thing we have not defined it is actually this one. This one is the rear of the enclosure or the back of the enclosure. We actually will not mount anything on it, or we will not mount this one on anything. So I'm gonna leave it for now and keep it like that. As you can see now, when we go to front view or isometric, whatever isometric you wanna use it, like that. For the entire thing, let's show the entire housing. Pole, like that. This is the entire housing. For the mounting panel, we have defined two things, mounting panel front and mounting panel back, the door in outside and door inside, and other things like that. This is our entire enclosure, which is going to show everything. What I'm gonna do actually is to use this enclosure in my project for later on. To do so, I will need to create a graphical macro. This graphical macro, I can use it for anything in my project. So let's first, we don't need mounting surface, so I will need to press escape. After that, let's press escape from the keyboard. Okay, now what you need actually is to try to select the entire thing. We have selected the entire thing. We will need to create a macro for this enclosure. This macro is going to be a graphical macro. To create a macro, you will need to select the entire thing, go to master data, from macro group, create this macro. This macro will need have name. This name, let's call it panel to be defined as 3D panel. Okay. It's gonna be 3D layout. You can change the direction if you want and define different variant. I'm gonna only use variant. This variant. Okay. And press OK. Now we have created this enclosure, which is named 3D panel. We will need to import this panel 3D macro to our management system. So you will need to go to management system. After that, you will need to search for enclosures. The enclosure is actually in the mechanics. In the components, you can find here the enclosures. Here's the enclosures. You can add the enclosure right there at any place you want. This is the old enclosure we have added. You can delete it. I don't need this enclosure if you want, but I'm gonna add new one. So add new one right there. This new one enclosure, I'm gonna rename it. Let's rename it. To rename it, you will need to go to properties, and from right there, let's change the name from new one. You can name it whatever you want. I'm gonna rename it Rittal Enclosure. Here we go. This is our Rittal enclosure we have defined. Okay, this is the port number we have defined and we already used. After that, I will need to add a graphical macro we have created to it. So when we press right there, we actually can find the 3D panel.ema. This is the one we have created. As you can see, the time for creation is the exact time right today. Double click on it, you can find it. After that, I'm gonna press apply. Once I press apply, you can see this one having the same direction, and this name, which is named Rittal Enclosure, is becoming outside for the new one, like that. After that, I will need to press close. You will need to be asked, do you want to synchronize the entire project? Yes, I want to synchronize the entire project and import everything to it. Once I press yes, what we actually doing is importing the enclosure. You can close this one and even delete this layout. You don't want to use it. Let's say we are going to use the new layout. This is our layout we are going to use and import our enclosure on. Let's go to devices, from mechanics and components. After that, we will need to go to enclosures and general and not define this one. And you can find the Rittal enclosure you are using. This is our Rittal enclosure. You can use it and open it at any time you want. Use it even multiple times. Okay. After that, you can find inside the enclosures. Let's say we are going to open the mounting panel. This is the mounting panel. Let's open the front view. You can add any component to it. Let's say, for example, you want to add any component. Let's go to devices and open device navigator. You can find here different devices. You can add it by right click and place from this portion. You can define at any place. For example, you can mount it right there, and even you can mount it K1 at any place you want. Of course, you will need to mount it. You will not be able to mount it on this one. You will need rails, but you get the option. After that, you can add multiple things you want to add along the way, starting from X4 and other things. Even you have the option to add rails, user-defined rails. Let's say you want to add rails, you will need to add it from right there, user-defined rails. Okay, guys, now we have understood how we can define and create a mounting panel from step 5. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture. Have a great day. Bye-bye.